And now, coming to you from the Pensado Media Center, powered by Westlake Pro.
North, south, east, west. Our guest runs one of the most iconic, incredible studios on the planet, an absolutely amazing shop. Brand new ITL from the Master Blaster over here. Our NAMM lineup is complete, hot, and ready to roll. We'll discuss. JD, fire up the shuttle. Let's get it popping. You're at the place. It's Pensado's place.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. Special day. One of our buddies is hanging out with us today, right, Herm?
Couple buddies, but this is a buddy.
Buddy.
She has been a consistent performer at the Pensado Awards and presenter. Goes way back with us, and an all-around badass on top.
The last time I bailed her out of jail, we got a little close. You've done that a few times too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you know, the fact that you can count on her going to jail means you can work out your budget so you prepare for it. That's what's great about it.
She's my only tie in LA to my past because we have similar backgrounds.
We might want to sever that because your past. She has disowned
we
hers.
went to colleges in the same state. And
there will be a football discussion just like there was at the Pensado.
No, we're going to forget that one.
Okay, cool. Shall we get to it?
Let's do it before she leaves.
Here we go. Hi, everyone. Hope you had a great week. Trust that you settled into your New Year groove. Optimistic as ever and going to make things happen in 2016. Blessings for your continued likes and subscribes. Thank you so much as always. We love you for that. Our partners in audio, the Blackbird Academy, Vintage King, Audio Technica, Aftermaster, Isotope, The Recording Connection, Fab Factory, and Avid. Tip of the cap for all you do. By the way, let's figure out, are you guys attending NAMM? Yes. We'd highly recommend it. We sure would like to see you if you're going to do it. Dave and I will be at our winter home. That's the Avid booth in Hall A, noon to 1 p.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, doing Pensado's Place Live. Got a great lineup of guests. Do we ever? On Wednesday, Mike Shinoda from Lincoln Park. Hot. A little birdie told me that Mike Dean from Kanye West camp. There's a funny story about Mike Dean being on the show, and his head had fire around it, and I didn't know why had smoke around it, and I didn't know why. And it was a little tiny vaporizer, something medicinal.
That wasn't tiny. It was a fire extinguisher.
And I didn't know. He was in no pain, and I now understand why. Friday, we got the architect of the Kendrick Lamar's 11-time Grammy-nominated album, the incredible DJ Ali. Yes, and I will tell you what, this is a bad boy on his way up. I think he's actually eligible for 5. He's doing some incredible records. He's starting to educate people. You're going to have a good conversation with him. Yeah. And then on Saturday, an absolute creative beast, Mr. Mike Elizondo. So just check this out. He produced with Dr. Dre and on Maroon 5. He produced with Eminem and Gary Clark Jr. He co-wrote In the Club for 50 Cent and produced Keith Urban. He's also an A&R guy for Warner Brothers and shares a studio with Chris Lord-Alge. I need a beast timeout. Just let me breathe.
Touch me.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So if I touch a beast, I get a beast timeout?
No, I'm anti-beast.
Okay. So you're
down a little bit.
Okay, cool. So I'm just telling you guys, if you're a bass player, a writer, a producer, a music lover, even a bike rider, and Mike will explain that, you want to meet this guy. And you know what else? He is just one hell of a good dude too, right? Mike is?
Does that qualify as a pedalophile?
Sort of. Sort of.
They can't all be winners.
No,
you got to take the good.
But I appreciate the effort,
though.
Pedalophile.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So as it relates to bikes only.
Yes.
And you know, when we appear live, we got to give stuff away. So, you know, we're in this brand new media center. It's got an audio art gallery. We'll be giving VIP tickets to the all-new Pensado Media Center, and you can come catch a live taping of Pensado's Place. Avid is going to be giving away some free gear from the Avid world, so we'll make sure that happens. I'm telling you, pack it up, pack it in. We're going to have an audio party all 3 days, and we'll see you at the Avid booth. That's Hall A, noon to 1 p.m. each day of NAMM. A couple other things. Dave P. will be at the McDSB booth, I think Friday at 11. The Audionamics booth, Friday at 2. I think you're helping out Manny Friday at 3 o'clock.
I'm not helping him out. We're gonna have a battle, a supreme engineer battle.
I understand Manny may creep by the Avid booth too. Possible?
I think so, yeah.
Possible on
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah.
So we're chock-a-block full, guys. Both Dave and I will be presenting at the Tech Awards. A lot of stuff. We'll put our schedule at pensadosplace.tv. You can see the updates there. We'll update it, and we want to see you there. Take a snap, take a picture, do the whole thing.
Can I catch up real
You
quick?
can.
I download the NAMM app every year. It's amazing. You can have click a little button and people can find out where you are. I always do that so you'll always know where I'm at. And it's a great way to plan your day because there's so much to see and you can't pack it all in if you're just staying there a day. But the app is really good. You can plan a route and make sure you see all the things you want to see and then make sure you catch us.
Yeah,
It's a good thing.
actually you can just ignore all the other things. Just catch us. Your NAMM will be really fulfilled.
Like I just ignored my camera the
Right,
whole
you
time.
did, and so you talked to there, even though your thing was over there. It's that kind of day. Yeah. It's time to meet the happy Hungarian homie who hosts Corner Office. He goes by the name of...
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
good,
How
Sean.
about happy Hungarian homie?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
See, my job is to make him laugh each time, so I worked all morning on that.
I don't think that's my job.
Oh, well,
Make you
homie
laugh.
was the last place insert. So, you excited about NAMM, man?
Oh, man, I'm so excited. We're going down the rabbit hole all again with 2016 and get to see a whole bunch of good friends, so I'm excited.
Yep,
that's
yep.
a good thing
And
about NAMM.
got good questions for our guests?
Tons of great questions.
She's a badass. She is.
Definitely.
And you, sir, NAMM is always something where I feel, I was having this discussion last night with somebody, and I said, NAMM is a place where Dave is just amongst his brethren
my
and
favorite
sisters.
holiday.
And you, exactly. And you just can roll around and
I can
catch up
turn
with everybody.
everything late that week and nobody can say anything.
That's right. That's exactly
Just
right.
what's going to happen?
But it really is a place, it's like the old studio system where you, in studios we used to gather and talk with people and meet and catch up.
Yeah.
And now it's become kind of the live event stuff. So NAMM is like a big place to get, don't you think?
Yeah, especially for our East Coast friends, you know.
Yeah, and for people learning, no better way to come and get close to people and people spend time and see them in the hallways and pass, take a picture.
I've been going on actually for a few years, and I look forward to it every year. I really do.
Yeah, I've started
Not
to
just
too.
the equipment, but it's fun. It's fun to use gear that you like the people that were involved with it.
Yeah.
And the same goes for plugins because plugins can be a little impersonal. And so you meet Colin McDowell, for example, and
Or Fabrice.
and Fabrice, all our friends, and it's just more fun.
Yeah,
Using
absolutely.
the product after that.
Which is code for get there, be there, hang with us. It's going to be a good thing. Time for an ITL. Our ITL features one of the absolute best brands out there. Intro the ITL, my kind sir.
Our friends at Universal Audio asked me to do a video about some of the things I liked and use, and I couldn't stop, so check it out.
Amanda, Erica, Bill, here you go.
Yes. Welcome. I was recently chatting with my friends over at Universal Audio, and I was giving them a compliment on several pieces of gear that seem to be extremely closely matched by the plugins that they make. And we decided to kind of share this with you a little bit. In case you weren't paying attention, things got really, really good a few years back, and then they got even better. And now, I'd say in the last 2 or 3 years, the tools we have are just unparalleled now. We've got, tens and tens and tens of dB of headroom, and we've got the tools like I'm going to show you today that are so close to the original. In fact, if you go by convenience and go by sheer numbers and the ease of use, they can be better because sometimes creativity isn't just the piece of equipment you use, it's you and your taste and the way you react to that equipment. Having said that, let me share a couple of pieces that I think really closely mimic the originals. Here's a track by my friend Eric Widman and his brother. I apologize for not remembering his brother's name. These guys are incredible. They're from Sweden, and I love their stuff. in fact, get ready to hear this record when it comes out. I'll keep you posted on the show. Check this out. Here's a bass without any UAD plugins. Now, let me stop you right here, guys. This isn't a tutorial. This isn't a review. This is just, I'm sharing some plugins with you that I think are really close. So I want you to go to the Universal Audio website. They've got amazing tutorials on all this stuff. How do I know? Because I was just there today checking them out to make sure I didn't do anything silly for you guys. Now, that bass sounds pretty amazing. So I decided to put this Manley on it. Now this really does come close. Check out what it's doing. Can't beat that bottom end. But this is a little surprise for you I wanted to throw in. This is the 610 preamp. Now you're saying, well, Dave, why would I put a preamp on something? Because preamps give you an option to get saturation and other things like transformer sounds, and preamps are in the mix world, they're rarely used to get color and saturation, but I do it a lot, and I want you to hear this. This is the 610. This thing's a legendary preamp. And by the way, you can access this in Unison technology. The Unison technology changes the physical characteristics of the gain staging and impedance of the preamps of your Apollo interface to make it sound and behave just like a vintage 610. You'll see a graphic with a couple of things that I use. Check this out, before and after. Sounds good, doesn't it, BP? Okay, now I'm gonna take it all off. That's money in the bank. I'm gonna give you a little taste in the track. Oh man, come on. All right, now I'm gonna show you a couple of my favorites now. A parent shouldn't have favorites with their children's, but you know, did I just say children's? Check this out. Here's a couple of guitar sounds. The level that you hear in bypass is actually louder than the level you hear with it out of bypass. Watch this. But when the plug-in goes in, it sounds louder because we're adding the color from the preamp with all the transformers and the color from that, and a little bit of EQ. So here again, you just can't beat that. Let me put it back in the mix for you. Oh, threw that in for free. The little space echo. This is a big sound of the 80s. Use it a lot. Now his little brother over here is the 88 RS. I had not been using this a lot. A lot of buttons and knobs, which were kind of above my pay grade, but I highly recommend spending some time with this guy. Here again, we're adding a little color from the mic pre. The EQ section is amazing. I'm not gonna spend time to show you the gate, but this gate is world class, guys. And a little bit of compression, so check this out. Okay, so I want you to check this out. I've got it set, I think I'm pretty close to telling you, spend some time with this guy. It's really, really good. That's about it for the guitars. Now, a little bonus thing, by the way, this sounds so much like the 88R. I mean, so much. And you don't have to lug a big, like, several ton console around. I was thinking about this Fairchild, and a lot of my friends, all my friends are mix engineers, sometimes just put this on something just to get the vibe and the color. The meters don't move much. So I wanted the synth part to sit in the track a little better. It's composed of three parts. I know I'm making you dizzy moving this plug-in around. Here we go. It rounds out the bottom, and watch when we sit it in the track. Gets a little wider, does everything. And here again, this is one of my favorite. I got the real one of this, and this is pretty good too. That's a bonus, another bonus for you. Check this out. A little bit of level gain there, but this guy with all four in, that was a lot of people's secret weapons back in the day. Okay, guys, let me sum this up. It really doesn't matter what the original sounds like and what the plugin sounds like. What matters is what works, and these plugins just work. Are they close to the original? Absolutely. Some people say they're almost identical. So check these out, and you'll find a new set of tools that are going to enhance what you do. Why would we care about these tools? Well, they have a history. They all have been used in a lot of great records, and we know they work. They're tried and true. Check them out. Bye-bye.
Many of the greatest studios across the land are really headed up by super talented businesswomen. Our guest is one of those. She is a longtime vet, the current studio chief of the incredible EastWest Studios. Please welcome our good friend, the incredible Candace Stewart. Yay.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, honey.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. Fire away there, sir.
Candace and I have so much history. She's been in charge of several of my favorite studios and always had a reputation for taking care of us, the engineers,
No question
despite
about it.
all the little prima donna things we asked her to do.
Yeah, but she knew how to do it. She knew how to handle it.
Yesterday I was just cruising around the internet, and what a fascinating background that EastWest has. It's been a grocery store back in 1933, and then Madame Zuka. We were just talking about
Zuka's,
that.
yeah.
And all the great studios start out as grocery stores, don't they?
You know, you would hope so, because then you could use all those big, giant doors for soundproofing.
That's true,
I think Bill was a frugal guy, you know.
So Bill Putnam had it back then, is that correct?
Yeah,
What's the history?
Bill actually came out of the urging of Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra, actually, from Chicago. And they were like, LA's a place to be, you got to come out. And so, yeah, he took over that building at 6000 Sunset and 6050. And he put his stamp on them, and I think a lot of people would agree that as an acoustic designer, I stuttered, as an acoustic designer,
not much better.
No one better, really. I mean, people have tried to emulate what he's done. I don't think anybody's really ever done it.
Not just with acoustic, but
the
gear. Modern day console is his concept.
Dude, LA2As, LA3As, 1176s, 1178s. We always laugh and say that the units that are in the room went around the world and probably came back because they were all built in that building.
Absolutely.
He designed everything there.
It extends through to Universal Audio.
Yeah, his son, Bill Putnam Jr., is his other boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so as it morphed, and then it went from Bill Putnam Jr. to the next iteration, who bought it and how did it get to today?
Well, you know, Alan was a protege of Bill's, and Alan Sides, of course, and he took it over and called it Oshaway and incorporated both buildings were together. Initially, 6000, our building, was Western Recorders.
Right.
And the 6050 building was United,
right.
which is what they are again. They've gone back to their name. They're owned by Sunset Gower now, and they're United again. Lovely, wonderful relationship with them.
Very cool.
And 6000 and 6050 together were Ocean Way, and then I worked for a gentleman named Rick Adams, who I got turned on to by a dear friend of mine that you may know, a guy named John Porter, British producer that I worked with, who is just the love of my life and who changed my life by introducing me to that facility. I was at Soundcastle, and John said, hey, I'm working for this billionaire, and he wants to buy this studio. And I'm like, oh, God, okay, that's how you lose $1 billion. No,
Exactly.
no, not really. But so he said, what do you think about 6000 Sunset? And I was highly aware, having engineering brothers and everything. And I was like, oh, that'd be amazing, you know. So in 1998, they bought it, and I went. It was called Cello, and that was the name of that company then that designed high-end audiophile gear and stuff like that. Mark Levinson, people might know him. He was married to Kim Cattrall.
Yeah.
So is the accurate count since 2012 58 Grammys nominations? For
You know, I believe that is the accurate count, and I think
close to 60 now.
I think that we may, in fact, you know, Abbey Road, maybe, I'm not sure, but I think that we may have more Grammy nominations. I don't know about winners, but definitely nominations than any facility, I think, in the world.
That's amazing.
I know.
That's
It's
amazing.
I'm proud of it, yeah.
Guys, I will tell you that if you go to the website and just look through the history of the EastWest, it is amazing. I mean, the clientele, the design, the rooms, the reputation. So you've been there how long now?
Well, I came back in 2010, and I'm very grateful to Doug Rogers, the current owner. He's an old friend of mine, and I'd known him for a long time. EastWest Sounds, which is the parent company, incredible sound library company, most of you are familiar, and a real innovator, and a real audiophile. And before it closed, I said, you know, you record all over the world. I said, why don't you just buy it? You can record the libraries here and save it. But he's a savvy guy, too. He waited until it closed, and he got a good deal on it. And I was at Firehouse Studios in Pasadena in between. And he's a design guy, and both acoustically, but interior design. He's an incredible, he's got unbelievable taste.
Yeah.
And he reached out to Philippe Stark, who was doing Katsuya, and just on a whim and said, hey, I've got this studio, would you consider doing it? And Philippe agreed to do it. We're the only studio that he's ever going to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of the agreements. And I was at Firehouse, and Doug was so very gracious and kept me involved during that time, and I got to meet Philippe and stuff like that, and say, no, you can't tear up the tile, or no, you can't change the wall. He was really super cool. And in 2010, he always acts like he would come out to Pasadena to see me, and he acted like he was driving to Reno, like it was so far. And he goes, you got to come back, you know, you're bored or whatever. Meanwhile, Firehouse was a sweet gig. You know, Tina Clark, the owner, is a great gal, also Southern lady.
Yes, she is.
We love her, and she was very, very, very good to me. And but he convinced me to come back. I went back in 2010.
And the thought process was, because you guys are a throwback to the old days, in my opinion, where environment counts. Like for vibe for creative people. And I think, was that part of the impetus, besides Doug's taste and so on and so forth, that there was a place where
it was discussed. It was supposed to be a village, kind of an atmosphere where you have private lounges you can go to, but then there's also the main lobby area where people intermingle. And you know what? I think we were talking about this earlier. I mean, one of the things that was so cool about, you know, the early days of A&M or the early record plant on 3rd Street would be the collaboration that would happen with people in the hallway.
Tell the Mick Jagger story real quick.
You want me to tell that now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's during Cello. I'll try to be brief, but so we talk about people meeting people and people working in the rooms and crossing paths. And Motley Crüe was in Studio 1, and Audio Slave was in Studio 2, and Chris Cornell and Nikki Sixx met, and they were like kids in a candy store. It was really cool to watch them. They were like really like bonded. And so Mick Jagger was working on the soundtrack for Alfie with Dave Stewart, and they had moved from overdubbing to mixing, where I have an SSL again in Studio 5, which I love. Indeed. It's great. It's our newest room. It's like 2 years old. But so Mick, this is the funny part of this story. Hopefully I won't get in trouble by this, but we had a manual gate then, and Mick called me. He goes, Candace, the paparazzi are chasing me. And I'm like, okay. He goes, come and open the gate. And I'm like, okay. So I come out and I open the gate, and there was a dance studio behind the studio, and it was actually Beyonce. And so I think, I don't know if the paparazzi knew Mick was there or not. That's the segue into the beginning of that story. But so Mick came in, and he was in my office, and I never think of the smart stuff, but this day I thought of the smart reply. He goes, where am I today? I know I'm just your plaything. And I said, yeah, you're my cat toy. I said, you're on the east side of the building. And he said, oh, cat toy, I like that. And then we heard Street Fightin' Man coming out of Studio One because Motley Crüe was just messing around, and Chris was singing. And they were just kind of having fun. And so I thought, oh, this is priceless. So I buzzed into the control room and asked the assistant, I said, you guys are not recording, obviously. You're just, and he said, yeah, no. I said, I want to walk through what we would consider the back door from the lobby. So I said, well, I'm going to come in with somebody. So I walked in with Mick.
While they're singing his song, and
Yeah.
Chris has his back.
Chris
has his back.
Chris has his back to him, and then Mick and Nikki and everybody just stop and freeze. And Bob Rock was in the control. I think it was Bob Rock was in the control room. Looks out and freaks out, and Mick just goes,
No joke.
And Chris turns around and is like. And he goes, I sanction it. And he looks at Chris and he goes, not bad. It was like one of those great moments.
But what you just described is what the studio environment, when it was happening, would happen. Those magic moments that you cannot plan.
Yeah, I had one happen yesterday that I can't talk about yet.
Okay.
But a similar thing where someone's walking out, and I end up looking like the cool person because I don't even know who half the people are sometimes. I'm getting so old, and somebody's walking down the hallway, and then this other very well-known artist is in awe of this other artist, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. I get to look all cool. Yeah, it's great.
Sure.
Candace, recently I was thinking about Muscle Shoals and when I was there, and the concept that if you go to a facility like EastWest or Muscle Shoals, that suddenly you're going to play better and do better. And I think there is some truth to that because if you love the history of a place and you get...
You don't want to let it down.
I guess so. It helped me here because I'm
hallowed
here.
halls.
But I was like thinking, man, Sinatra cut New York, My Way. That's Life.
Yeah.
Thriller was in there. Rattlin' Hum You Too. I'm looking at my notes because it's like frightening all the stuff. Yeah. And Pet Sounds was cut there.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Really? Pet Sounds, yeah.
And so when you walk in there, how does that affect? I know how it would affect me, but I need to help articulate it from you too.
I think it inspires.
Well, I was just going to say that. That's the word I was going to use.
Michael Bublé is a classic example, and he's been quite a few times with Bob and gotten some Grammys out of Studio One, and I think he feels the aura, Dora.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think he goes into Studio One and he channels it.
The other thing too, besides inspiration, because I do think, look, we watched when this airs a couple nights ago was the college football championship, and you could see that people played.
Are we talking about that now? Are we talking about Clemson
We're going to go to it in a
Tide?
second, no, because it's a touchy space right in here, and I'm in between. But I would say this, that when you're inspired, that's all the motivation you need. The history sits on your shoulders, and you walk in the room.
We always say, if you can't make a record in these rooms, you don't have any business being in here.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say that we don't welcome new artists or people that are less skilled or less, or more amateur. That's fine because we got you covered. We've got the gear, the mics, the acoustics. If you come in and you're ready to roll.
You're ready to roll.
Yeah.
And also such a wide swath. Some studios get a reputation, and certain genres will go there.
Yeah.
You guys cover.
Well, that's
everything.
completely me, Herb.
Of course. That's why we have you on. Nobody else there counts.
That's complete. No, but I was just going to say, places get typecast. I think Dave would agree from, I won't say limitations of the rooms, but from aspects of a certain room. Maybe it's a beautiful scoring room, but not maybe it's too ambient for rock, whatever that is. And we're very, very fortunate, God bless Bill, because you got Studio One, which is quite large and great for scoring. You got Studio Two, which is kind of like the rock room, it's good. Studio Three, which is a little bit more intimate. And I think the reason that we have so many genres come in is I'm just a booking machine.
You are a booking machine,
cool as shit. Oh, thanks. I'll just, you can call me up, and if you're going to do Tejano, bring it. I'm down.
How do you protect against getting a reputation for a particular genre? Because whatever technique you say and use would apply to engineers and producers too, because we have the
Sure.
same problem where sometimes we're typecast in a particular genre. What's your technique
Well, and I
for
think
that?
you've done a great job at not getting typecast, and
thanks.
then you've
Well,
got
his
people like.
management. His
Yeah,
management.
well, it is you.
Yeah,
It is,
no, I don't know.
absolutely.
I wasn't saying it was me. I was just
Again,
saying it
it's
was your
take the
manager.
call.
I'll say it, it
Again,
was
it's
you.
take the phone call, right? You know what I mean?
I
How
wouldn't
much
be
you
here if
Take
it
the
wasn't
call.
for Herb. I mean, he's being
No,
he's being polite.
when you're
It was
representing a
cheap
beast,
shot at getting
makes it easier.
a compliment, but
Yeah, no,
you deserve it.
it was worse than cheap. It was a fishing thing.
You know, I think it's just, and I think you're right. I think engineers can get in that situation
Yeah,
too.
and producers.
People that haven't, Don
And
was,
actors,
Rick Rubin.
everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you do Johnny Cash one day, and you're doing a Frank Ocean the next. I mean, you know,
That's exactly
and
right.
God bless them. You know, they're amazing for that and being able to segue into those things. But I think what it is, I think it's that the rooms have different applications.
Yeah.
And I think, so when I get a call, instead of they say, oh, well, do you do hip hop there? I'm like, yeah, we do hip hop everywhere, you know, in every room. And you know what's interesting is a lot of the hip hop guys and some of the newer guys, they go into Studio 3 where Pet Sounds was done, look at that Trident A range, people like Polo to Don,
Yeah.
and they look at it and they go, this is so cool.
Wow.
And this sounds so good,
Right.
you know? And I'm like, yeah, it's
Wow.
cool. It
What other
sounds good.
hip hop artists frequent East West? Are there a bunch?
You know, yeah,
Tupac
quite a
worked there.
few. Well, Tupac was back in the day with me at Soundcastle back in the
right.
day. But God, what a lovely guy. But at East West, oh man, name it. I mean, Nas. We've got you know, Skrillex and Diplo are coming in doing things.
Easy, Chongor. Stay calm.
So many people. I mean, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for mentioning someone who's there currently, but Jacoy is there, who we love. No ID. Dion has been really, really supportive, and he's a wonderful client. And so I think he's president of Def Jam now.
exactly.
So he and Max Goose prior, and Karen Quack also been real loyal, and they just whoever's kind of hot on their ticket. I think it's like they trust the innkeeper.
Yeah.
So they know if they
That's
send
exactly
it to
right.
East West that it's going to be okay.
Well, the other thing too, I think in the commercial studio business, this is from amateur seats, so I want to get your perspective. There's this, you know, sort of arms race. There's the big commercial houses and have to get big commercial accounts to keep that stuff going.
Yeah.
And then you have to coexist between home studios and project studios and stuff that sometimes get great sound. But the big guys are going to keep coming back to the place that is comfortable and people understand and product comes out. And there's a loyalty that is built up.
I
isn't
mean,
it?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you're
that's
evidence of
that's
it,
the
for sure.
thought, you know, with that. But I mean, I think, and Dave, from a perspective as a producer and an engineer, I mean, we embrace the indie artists because I would tell my staff, and we can get to the Guns N' Roses story, which is a classic example. You know, it doesn't mean if I know who a band is, that's not the, you know, this is, you know, Michael Jackson started somewhere.
That's
So,
right.
you know, when the phone rings, when my staff is dealing with someone, or even when I'm booking someone, you try not to get jaded, you know.
Exactly.
And if something's new and exciting, I kind of listen to the runners a lot
Yeah,
about indie artists.
Absolutely.
And I personally listen to Alt 98.7 because that's the kind of music that I like.
There you go.
But
I do too, by the way.
everybody starts somewhere. So I think, you know, a lot of the indie artists, you know, U2 made a first record,
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? So we welcome everyone, and you don't have to have big bucks because I'm competitive as hell, and we all know that.
See,
you know,
this
you
is-
call me, you need a favor.
I know.
I'm down.
This
This,
happened.
this
This
is
happened.
why
Yeah.
East West
When
is
you
East
put
West.
me in the upstairs room at Soundcastle, that helped my career
Remember the
immensely.
room in the
Yeah,
back, room in the
that did
front.
help, yeah.
Well, to your point, when we did year
about
2 of
that.
the Pensado Awards, the award that gets almost the most attention from the press is the AIR Award, which is assistant interns and runners. So
Yeah.
we think they're a valuable source of information, being connected to the
yeah.
streets, cutting edge stuff.
Oh, it's a grassroots thing for sure.
Oh, it's amazing. There's like a street team.
I actually early on, and I had a couple owners that didn't approve. My current owner's fine with it, but early on, I would encourage my staff, the assistants, of course, but even the runners to get business cards.
Yes.
And it would just say staff on it, because they'd be
Absolutely.
out at clubs.
100%.
You know, and I just go to dinner now. You know, I can't go to all the shows.
Exactly,
You know, I'm
exactly.
tired. But they would have cards and would say staff on it, and they'd say, "Hey, I met this band. They seem pretty cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's check it out."
And before you know it, they've delivered you
In Los
something.
Angeles, I'm guessing you're going to disagree with this, but in Los Angeles, everybody pretty much has the same gear. So the studio business in Los Angeles, to me, is about service and lounges. And the things that separate all the major studios is not the SSL they have. They all got the same SSL. They all got the same outboard gear. Some have nicer.
Same plugins.
Yeah, same everything. But a lot of times you just choose a place because of the lounge the management, the way you're treated, and the service that you get,
Yeah.
much like a restaurant. You
Or a
know, the
hotel.
food's important, no doubt, and the food's important there, but a lot of studio owners that are engineers don't understand that. They think it's about the gear, and they're not as good as studio managers as somebody like Candace, who has an audio background and has 2 brothers that are engineers, but she makes it about service.
Well, she's also seen the curve. We sometimes say that part of what, we've been blessed with this Pensado success, we work really hard at it, but what we combine is kind of an analog perspective through a digital platform.
Yeah.
So we learn the old school stuff, and we learn the
You know
heads,
what?
the
The
retail
only
stuff.
difference is Pro Tools replaced a tape machine, and God knows every day I miss the tape machine.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
I don't. I hate those
You don't really?
motherfuckers. I hate
You
them.
don't?
I hate everything
Guys,
about
Well,
them.
they also
You
contributed.
never had to align one. You never had to
Once,
worry
yeah.
about your mix changing because
Come on, you can't edit 2-inch tape. If I would go out on a date
I
with a
can
man that
edit
could
it.
edit
I can-
2-inch.
I can edit the
I knew you
piss
could,
out of 2-inch
because I knew
tape.
you could
I
commit.
do miss that.
If
I
you
do
were ready
miss
to,
it.
you're
if
good
you were
with your
ready to cut
hands.
2-inch tape, you were my
My
guy.
very
you're good with
first
your
day in the
hands.
studio ever, we had tape. We
Takes-
had reels of tape
it
rolling
takes
on the
balls.
tape machine. The studio was outside doing the basic tracks. The group was outside the studio doing basic tracks, and my job was to, as quick as possible, put another reel on. Then everybody went to lunch,
The recordist.
and I had to edit one.
That's what they called it.
I had to pick the
right.
best verses and edit
Tape
something
op.
they could overdub over, and I love tape editing.
And I bet you, I
and
bet you,
comping vocals on a 2-track.
I hate comping vocals.
and I bet you guys
I
didn't
will
know.
not comp vocals.
You
so-
guys didn't know why managers like tape machines, do you?
No. Oh yeah, I do, because you build the reels of tape as cocaine money.
Well,
So
We liked it because we had something big enough to hold on to that you needed so
no,
we get paid.
Just so you guys will know, back in the day,
I don't know what
I'm-
you're talking
I'm a-
about with that
I'm a
cocaine with those
mixer,
reels of
and
tape on the
I'm gonna give it
bell.
away, Herb.
Okay.
So get ready.
This is
Okay.
so true.
I just got indicted for drugs. I think.
No, you didn't
Okay.
get that.
I just got out of jail.
But back in the day, I'm a mixer. I don't use 2-inch tape. I use 1/4 and half.
Duly noted.
But I noticed the bills when they were going out would have 8, 9, 10, 12 reels of 2-inch tape. And so
Let's just
the
see,
drug dealers would-
$1,600.
The drug dealers would bring the drugs to the studio. The studio
8
would
ball.
pay them, and then they'd bill the label as tape.
But
2-inch
Yeah.
tape.
But see, the thing about tape is that they required razor blades, so we could use the razor blades to do something.
With the money that the label
They had a little
bought.
True.
component so you could cut yourself. Oh yeah, it was all label supply.
I've had to do reels of tape for a female company as well. I've had to bill
Yes.
back tape.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
No, you know what? I do kind of miss tape.
But you don't have, the Pro Tools, right? You got to upgrade it, and then you got to go to Waves and pay $1 billion for the next version.
That's true.
Sorry, Waves,
Tape
love
is
you,
like-
amazing.
That's true.
Tape is like wearing 20-year-old underwear. Sometimes you just get used to the comfort of it and the predictability of it.
20 year? That's a long.
25.
Oh man, your commitment
And
is incredible.
so tape sometimes gives me that comfort feeling of just having an old friend around.
Here's a question for you. So, as
wanna check?
technology constantly evolves, how do you guys sort of decide what you integrate into the EastWest arsenal?
Well, you know what? It's a business. And I mean, at the end of the day, the people that own the studios that I work for, they're looking at me for profit,
Yeah,
And
making
so
numbers.
it's all about timing,
Yeah.
And like, everyone says, oh, are you 11 yet? Are you 12 yet? I'm like, I don't know. I have to be, yeah.
Right.
But we are. So we probably, the way that I do it, and God bless the manufacturers, and a lot of the people that you mentioned, including Avid and a lot of your sponsors, the friendships with the manufacturers has been
Amazing.
crucial for me.
Us too.
And
You get a break. You get
yeah,
to try stuff.
yeah,
put stuff
and it's
in.
it's a win-win. If I can do a new product, maybe barter an event with them, give them a day to do an ad or something like that. But we pay for it. So those decisions, I make them, and it's
And
like
they're your,
cash
and
flow.
they're your decisions to
They're
make.
mine.
You
The chief
recommend it,
engineer,
they-
Lawrence Malchos, who's a genius. Our owner, Doug Rogers, he's a very clever guy. He's a smart businessman. And so I'll go to him and I'll say, look, we've got to do this. It's time.
Right.
Because
You
we
need to
wait
have
till the
this.
last minute.
Right.
And he's good. Bill Putnam Jr. is a friend. UAD has been wonderful to us. Luke Smith at Waves, who I adore, has been a real pal as well. And people, they help us, and we just, I cobble it together, we
you
do
go.
one room at a time.
There you go.
Know?
Yep, make it happen.
But we're good now. All the rooms are done. Just want to say that.
So there's 5 rooms, correct?
There's 4 rooms with a tenant. We have a tenant in one room.
we have a
Yeah.
tenant.
We'll mention him later.
Okay.
Tell me if this is an accurate statement. It seems like very subtly you have let's don't call it a focus, but you have an emphasis on things you can't do at home as an engineer. So you're not trying to compete with the home guy. You're trying to augment the home guy by
You were
providing
such
him
a
things.
genius. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What was that you said? I missed it.
You're such a genius. Yeah.
And it feels like that's
You're reading my mind, is actually.
Really?
Yeah.
It feels like that's one of the tenets that's making you successful.
Well, you know, as a booker, you know, I can't be concerned about what I've lost or what I'm not getting. That's not my job. My job is to book the hotel, you know, and to fill the rooms. So I will focus on, you know, things that people can't do at home. I mean, some people can do a 70-piece.
That's the genius at the table right there.
Well, some people can do a 70-piece orchestra in their house, but I don't know many of them.
Not
You
a
know what I
bunch.
mean?
Not a bunch.
So, and then the other rooms, you know, it's just about, I mean, we'd all agree there's great vocals have been done in a bathroom. I don't know which ones, but I'm sure there's been some good ones.
Right.
You know, I would say it's the engineers that make things sound good in home studios, and I would go as far as to say that. I don't think, you know, it's a poor carpenter who blames his tools. It's a good carpenter who knows how to use them, you know? And so I'm saying that the guys in the home studios, I've never been a hater because that's just a waste of energy and time.
Right.
So yeah, you know?
When
I'm friend of the home guys because I know they want to come in.
They do.
about
You know?
about 5 or 6 years ago, I decided to put a little studio in my home, and then it was this story ends good.
Okay.
And then just was lazy, just didn't want to drive all the way to Larrabee. And,
Yeah, so far.
And you know what I missed the most?
Service.
Being fussed over.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't feel like a. I'm working on a real well-known artist. I think it was Brandy or Michael Jackson or something
Brandy.
in my house, and it just felt wrong.
goes back
it
with
didn't
me.
feel right.
Can you feel
I don't know if it's-
isolated?
I don't know if
It's
it's the
weird.
prima donna thing from
Yeah.
working at big studios for so long.
No, I
But
think you get
I actually-
isolated.
You get isolated. Don't mix with people.
I actually packed up and went to Larrabee.
Because
I mean, I couldn't
studios
do it.
are
Great studio.
They're
I
communities.
haven't worked at home since.
Yeah, it's a great studio,
I
by
made
the
it,
way.
what, 3 months, Herb, or something?
Yeah, I mean,
great
studios are
studio.
communities. They're like town halls and
Yeah.
homes and clubhouses and
I mean,
fraternities.
and the truth is, with loyalty like you have with someplace like Larrabee or people that come to my place, you know, we'll make it worth your while.
Right.
You know what
And
I
by
mean?
the way, I'm not saying anything negative about a home studio.
Yeah.
You should have a home studio. Particularly, I like it when people entering the business and just get out of school. I highly recommend a home studio. It's just I came backwards to the home studio. If I started out at a home studio, it would have been my favorite thing on earth. But
you wouldn't have learned the skills that you have now, probably, though. If you'd
it was a
done
different
that.
world
No
back
question.
then too.
Yeah.
But,
No question.
but yeah, I didn't mean to slight the home studio. I'm just not a home studio guy. My wife, I fired her 3 times. She was not a good runner, and it just had a lot of
She wasn't a
problems.
studio
well,
manager.
you
She
know
wasn't a
what
cook.
I
She
would-
was a runner.
You know what I've seen happen, and I think a lot of artists would admit this, including Tom Petty and people like that, who still does have a home studio. But not everybody wants the rest of the band traipsing through their house. You know,
question.
the wives have put a
question.
kibosh on a lot of these things. You
Absolutely.
know, over the
My
years.
job's the problem. My dear wife loves to cook, so I'm trying to get a mix
yes.
done, and she's bringing in gourmet food and
Yummy. When am I
mixes
coming
taken-
over? Sounds good.
I don't have a home studio anymore.
All right. Was she
I-
still
I
cooking?
swear-
She's still cooking?
She's still cooking.
I swear. I don't have any way to play music at my house.
Well, it's a joke that engineers have the most terrible home stereos.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
I have
bucking
no way
that
to play. That's
personally,
funny.
but
Oh,
yeah.
You been to my
sure.
house?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never, if it ain't
Nope.
coming out the TV, I don't hear it.
It's usually ESPN. It's on. Yeah, that's.
I'm turntable crazy these days.
Are you really?
Yeah,
I
yeah. In
love
my
vinyl.
office and my house.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my
I
husband
love-
finally kowtowed. Now he's like seen the wisdom of it.
I
So,
love playing music at the studio loud through my speakers.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like
That's
it.
where I
It's just
love
great.
to listen to music. And in my car,
I'm a car
too.
listener.
Me too. I'll get in my
Although I
car.
couldn't
Right,
swing
junkie.
with the 5.1 in the car thing because I couldn't figure out how I was going to sit with the emergency brake up my butt. You know what I mean? I was like, how's that going to work? You know, like when I had the speakers all around. And I also like audience perspective, except in a concert situation like I love, we digress, but
Sure.
watching a DVD with a concert, I love that,
Right.
right? But I don't want the guitar player
Right.
under my armpit,
Right,
like
right.
squealing at me. I want to
Absolutely.
watch the
That's-
band. I want to
yeah,
see the
that's-
I'm
band.
the same way.
Do you agree?
That's just bad 5-1.
Okay.
good 5-1 should give you a real life experience, and so there's some great practitioners of that.
Oh,
Bob
yeah,
Marloff,
dude.
There's a bunch of guys
Elliot
that do it.
Shiner.
Elliot
Yeah,
Shiner's the best.
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sean Gort, you got some questions over there for our guests?
Got some good ones.
What you got?
This first one's from Chris Johnson. Given the long hours and extremely competitive nature of the industry, how are you able to maintain a positive attitude in your career?
Well, I don't have to work long hours anymore.
Right. She's the boss. Let's start with being that.
You know, I am mindful of my guys because, you know, they don't have the cocaine to sustain them anymore.
That's right.
With the overnight shifts.
Too bad for them.
You know, poor kids.
Yeah.
This
But,
cafe gonna let you.
you know, we say if you're not in it to win it, if you're not in it to learn the craft, you know, it isn't a long day if you're doing something that you love.
That's right.
You know, that's my honest opinion, you
It's
know.
only a long day when you're working with jerks. Everything
Yeah.
else in our profession.
Yeah,
is the
mean
most
people
incredible
suck.
thing in the world.
Yeah.
I'm anti-mean people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mean people suck.
Sean, you got another one?
Yeah.
And from Alicia Golanek, have you ever had a moment in your career where you felt discouraged and overwhelmed? And if so, how did you get over it?
How many of those do we have?
Yesterday,
About an hour ago. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have an incredible assistant who's very funny, who keeps me very happy. Keith Munson, he's a genius. He keeps me laughing all day long. But I think you can probably tell by looking at me that I'm really not a depressive type.
No.
So
We go to her when we're depressed
you know,
to stop being depressed.
I have to be honest with you. The only time that I'd ever be discouraged, it would be if I lost a booking that the client didn't give me an opportunity or didn't give me a reason why I'd lost it. You know, I mean, the world's not fair. But, you know, there's been once or twice in my career where someone has canceled or someone hasn't come in, and I've never gotten an explanation. And I'm a sensitive cat, you know. It kind of made me wonder, like, wow.
Was it me?
You know, was it me? Was it that 20-year-old underwear?
Absolutely.
I mean, what was the
Absolutely.
problem?
Absolutely. No,
But
that's
how do you
happening
get
daily.
over it? I don't know. You take the next call.
You keep
You know,
rolling.
you book the next gig.
And
you
it's
know?
it is part of our profession. You're gonna
Oh,
hit
yeah.
those hurdles. You gotta learn them, learn to get past them,
I'll
keep
get
rolling.
that Michael Jordan Hanes underwear endorsement.
I don't think so. They stop at 16 years. You're at 20, so your buy sell date has gone by.
I was just sitting here thinking, I get discouraged every time I hear a mix I didn't do. I mean,
Right.
But that's good. That's good discouragement.
But
That's incentive.
That's incentive to be
That's
better.
incentive. Yeah.
luckily
yeah.
I can call my friends and ask how they did it. But
And then tell them they were wrong.
oh, I never do that. I got talented friends. They're always making me.
Trends. Do you see trends both either musically or in the studio business or technology? Are you in an optimistic place about where we're going?
Viva 2016, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I think so,
optimistic.
too.
I actually do see, and I think you would agree with me, I see young artists, you know, the turntable's a classic example, or more vinyl sales than ever is a classic example.
Yep.
I see people wanting to make better sounding records.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Hoorah.
I think
You
that's
know what I
correct.
mean? And yes, they can do it in their homes, and God bless the technology. God bless all the people we mentioned, the wonderful plugins, UAD waves, everybody for making things sound so good. And
Yep.
a lot of the digital things approximating the analog ones that we love, except for the, Fairchild. But just saying, it's going to go there, Lang. Pultex. But anyway,
right.
I
How
think
much does it cost to repair the tubes in one stereo Fairchild to replace them all?
not a lot.
There's 30 tubes in the
Not a
damn
lot.
thing.
No.
30 tubes.
No.
30 tubes. At
I know, I got 3 Fairchild. That's a question for Lawrence.
$150 a tube.
That's a question for Lawrence. I think
That's
Lawrence is just.
$4,500
I think Lawrence is
to
just
repair the
buying
tube.
tubes all the time and
You know how
telling
much-
me they're tape
how much
boxes.
it
Right.
costs?
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs because honestly, Doug did that when he bought the place. He replaced all the tubes. So, but
I'm
yeah,
just messing with
but you're totally right.
I made those numbers up. They're not true.
I was like, what? I'm like, wait, that's not right. But to trends,
Yeah.
back to the reeling us back in.
Absolutely.
Trends, I see people wanting to make better sounding records, and I see them doing their research. God bless the gargle, gargle it.
Yep.
Use the Google, as my 87-year-old mother used to say.
Use the Google.
And I think people are looking up how stuff was done, and that might segue into us talking about one of our favorite people,
Well,
Tom Dowd.
So we're going
But
to
you
do
go,
two
Daddy.
things. Well, we've got.
Do it, Daddy.
Yeah. No. So let
See,
me
Mama
just
messed
finish
you
up.
up now.
No.
15 seconds with Tom Dowd.
I'm coming back to Tom Dowd.
okay.
So one of the things too that I think in the trend side is also I think people now, because of technology, they're experimenting with putting more hybrid forms of music together.
Yeah.
And you have to really work harder to make that sound together. So you put
Yeah.
EDM with country, or you put hip hop with.
We've got
you know,
electronica guys coming in, laying down violins.
Exactly.
Studio 3. You've got that guy's name? I should yell at the peanut gallery out here. The guy from Swedish House Mafia, Steve Angelo.
Sure.
Coming in and loving Studio 3, you know, and going like, oh, I got to do some cool stuff in here and put it on my stuff.
So let's talk about Tom Dowd, and then let's talk about your tenant.
She and I both have a respect and I guess the best way to say it is every time I watch the DVD, I cry. Every
cry
time you
like
watch
a baby.
it, you cry.
Yeah.
And the reason we're bringing it up is because I think if you're a young, well, not young, but not necessarily young, but if you're just getting into the audio profession, you've got to watch this DVD. Amazon has it on sale for around $20, and it's a bargain because you'll keep referring to it the rest of your life. But essentially, this guy did all the, he did every genre. He gave his entire life to audio. He helped work on the atomic bomb. He's a physicist, but he made some of the greatest records you've ever heard. And he died a humble death. He never accepted too much money. He never worried about that.
He kind of came in before points were a common thing, frankly, and he didn't have Herb.
Yeah,
if Tom had Herb, he'd have a lot more, an estate.
I would have been happy to help.
Yeah.
But describe it, Candace, from your perspective, because
you know, we were talking about this earlier. We both come from the South. You haven't gathered that yet. And one of the things, well, Tom Dowd, he was the engineer at Atlantic. He'd worked on the Manhattan Project, and Ahmet and Jerry Wexler brought him into Atlantic. He's responsible for slide wires becoming attenuated faders. We owe a lot to Tom Dowd, both on a creative level and a design level, and also obviously Les Paul, you know. But Tom, he was a musical guy. He was a fan, you know. And
what's the Cream song? They're sitting there and it's not working out. He says, "Why don't you try the tom-tom beat on this?"
Is it Badge? Because that's my favorite Cream song
remember
ever.
what it was,
Oh no, it's Sunshine of Your Love.
Yeah, do your homework.
I think it's Sunshine of Your Love.
And then I ran into him down at Criterion in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
They were working on.
And you're from Miami?
Yeah, I think it was the Layla album. But,
Oh yeah.
But he did all Aretha's albums.
Oh, yeah.
He did jazz albums.
Oh yeah. And Ray Charles, he was Ray's engineer. And Led Zeppelin. I mean, anybody that was on Atlantic, you know.
Zeppelin, for sure, his Zeppelin albums. And never tried to get too much credit, never got producing credit.
I know, and should have.
And he was a great producer.
Yeah.
And
we owe a lot to Tom.
To me, I tried to pattern my career after him because I just felt like that I didn't know. You know, I started late in life and I needed to catch up. So the easiest way to catch up was to just rip everybody around me off that I respect.
You know what? I tell everyone that comes to work for me, I say, everybody that you're working with, I said, not only are you auditioning to take the first engineer's place when you're an assistant, I said, but you're also usurping. You're looking at everything they're doing, what they're running. I said, you're incorporating it and creating your own style from it. I always say that.
I tell my team, copy success.
That DVD is called The Language of Music, and I think it's an apt title for Tom instead of like, you know, engineering techniques or whatever, because it is the language of music, and he is the one who introduced Dwayne Allman to Eric Clapton, and that's why we have Layla, why we have Derek and the Dominoes.
We need to get, Chong, make a note, we need to get that DVD in our library.
The Language of Music.
Yeah, for sure.
And also Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, and the Allman Brothers.
Oh, Allman Brothers.
Amazing.
Right here,
back to East West. Who's this mystery tenant do you want to talk about?
Well, you know what? We're so lucky. Hopefully he won't get mad at me giving him a shout out. But I've had the good fortune of being friends with one of the top mixers in the world, besides Dave, who's sitting here, and that's Spike Stent. I think he is just an incredible talent.
An absolute monster.
Super humble guy.
Let's get Spike on the show.
Yeah, Spike should do the show.
You know, he's a shy cat. You know, he would laugh to hear me say that. He may or may not do it. I can't guarantee his attendance, but I certainly make the introduction.
Okay, that works. That works.
But he's an incredible.
Well, we'll figure
talent.
out a way to get down there if we have to.
Oh, that would be
Don't
awesome.
tell him that yet. Oh, no. Let's see if he'll come on first.
Yeah, sure. That'd be easier for you, for sure. But we dug. You know, people had asked about. You know, we had this one studio back in the Oceanway days. It was called Studio 7. The Isley Brothers had it for a long time.
I remember.
And then Matt Wallace had it for a while. And Yamaha used it as a demo space at one time. But I'm dating myself. But when I came back to East West, I mean, again, back to me being, a mercenary, is that wanting income streams or whatever I just wanted, you know, to open every conceivable space. At Cello, we had closets that we'd rent out, you know what I mean? But we don't have those spaces anymore with the Philippe design, which is fine. And East West Sounds is in our building, and they are the best landlord ever. But we had this one studio, it's called Studio 4 now, and it was basically being used as storage. And Spike had gotten involved and had done a library with East West Sounds, and he had gone back to the UK. He had a place in Santa Monica, but he went back. He had a room in Olympic for a long time, and he was coming back out, and he gave me a shout, and I said, oh man, please come in. And I went to Doug, who's a friend and a fan of Spike's, and I said, look, if we were going to have one tenant,
There you go.
this would be my pick. And he said, yeah, he was down, so it was good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
long has he been there?
He's been there about 6 months, I think,
Oh,
and the
cool.
room was sort of patterned after Studio 3. It's kind of the mirror image of 3 on the back of 3. It's they don't there's no bleed or anything,
Sure.
but it's on the other side of it, and it's a similar size
Gotcha.
to Studio 3.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, how's your arm? You loosened up? Time for batter's box?
Is there a problem with gender here? I can go full speed, right?
Oh, yeah. No. In fact, you should go hard. Don't.
Go ahead, go deep and
Yeah,
go
don't
hard.
go
What are we
into
doing?
quality.
What's
Yeah.
happening here?
Well, he can go. Well, I don't know if he can go hard or deep, but he can just go. So
Bring it, Daddy.
Sorry.
Bring it on.
See, she
I'm
said,
down.
"Bring it, Daddy." You should be
Let's do
inspired.
it.
I'm sensitive. I'm very sensitive.
All right, here we
I'm
go.
not worried about chauvinism.
Batter's
That's,
box
I
is
got 3
up.
brothers.
Here we go.
Console.
Neve.
Air conditioning.
A.H. Flores and Company.
Woo!
They are the men.
Bat speed is
Ghosts.
God bless them.
You got some.
Do have
Don't
some.
lie. You
Do
know
I
you
got
got
some?
some.
I got some.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll go back for names in a minute.
I'm
good
Southern.
call.
Assistant engineers.
The backbone. Yeah.
Microphones.
Telephones.
Nice.
Clients.
All.
Good answer.
Nice ones.
Yeah.
Lounges.
Private.
Interns.
God, I don't know. Why is that a stumble?
Touchy.
Why is that a stumble? Eager.
Plugins.
Love them. All of them. Waves.
Hey, be careful with this one.
And Taurus.
Each one, the previous 10 were 1 point apiece. This is 25 points.
Okay,
This is one.
all right.
East-West.
Home.
Oh, good answer. Good answer. And a question for our audience.
That came easy. Wow.
Oh, you did great. Great.
That came easy, home.
Bat
That came
speed,
easy.
off the hook.
Oh, I concede.
Yeah, there was
I
no-
conceded at.
No-
I conceded
no,
at.
at number 2. No gender difference.
I conceded
whatsoever.
at underwear.
Yeah, early on.
Do we get to Crimson Tide Clemson yet? I'm just kidding.
That's next. So
Yeah,
somebody's watching,
congratulations to the University of
somebody
Alabama.
wants to get a job at East West. What kind of criteria do you look for when you hire? a new
Rosé
person?
champagne knowledge. That
Gotcha.
is really first and foremost. I mean, if you haven't done your homework and don't know that I'm a champagne head,
Okay.
just don't show up
Okay, cool.
empty-handed.
What-
But I work with a lot of schools. God bless.
Yep.
We love the conservatory. I'm the chairman of their advisory board. Kurt Ham, God bless them. They were probably one of the early ones that had a decent curriculum that actually listened to professionals in the industry
Right.
to make their curriculum.
Right.
Like these are real world stuff, you know.
Yep.
Blackbird Academy, John
Absolutely.
McBride, you gotta love him.
We love
Is there anybody that we love more? I
Nobody
love
more.
John so
John
much.
McBride.
No question.
SAEs, still kind of in the running. Full Sail, don't know you folks that well, don't want to put you down, don't use it that often.
Right.
MI, my dear friends, John Newkirk is the dean there. So basically what I do is I keep those relationships with the placement people going, and they know not to send me anybody that sucks.
Right.
So they send me the best of the best, and then I just, kind of play, Russian roulette with their emotions and their whole future.
No, and listen, it's what you do. You got to have research. You got to know
Yeah.
what you're doing. You have to have information. And then you have to sort of understand people. I tell people all the time, you
Yeah.
got to use your ears less than your mouth. If you don't know how to read a room, fit in, know when to go.
Yeah,
Some of it's instinctive.
hygiene is an issue. Can we talk about hygiene?
Oh, nothing worse than a
In the
funky one.
beginning of my career, I remember that these people will remain unnamed because I love them so much, and they're all Grammy winners now. But if you're going to be in a room with someone for 14 hours, stinky men, then you got to have all my guys. It's a clean shirt. It's toiletries in the car.
Yep.
You're going to be working
You gotta freshen
long
up,
days.
no
You know what I
question.
mean? Go in and do what I call the PTA bath. I'll leave that up to your own imagination.
I have a name for that as well. Yeah.
But yeah, it's hygiene's key.
It's important. That's important stuff.
I once saw a situation. I'm not going to use any names, but an assistant engineer got sick right when a major client was about to come into the studio, and the studio manager got talked into letting this other assistant do it because he swore he could do it. The client stayed about 4 hours, went over to another studio, and over the next 8 years spent about $12 million.
Bad manager.
$12 million because of one arrogant assistant that thought he had the right to go in and work with a pro, and he wasn't ready. And it
Bad
cost that
manager.
studio, which is now out of business, That's how important assistant engineers
Yes.
are. It's
Oh,
not
they
a right
absolutely
or a
are.
privilege.
Well, I said backbone. I mean, I meant it.
It's the main human interface between the business and the client.
Absolutely. Now, you occasionally have to remind them that they work for the studio.
Absolutely. You got to check them every now and
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got to check. Clemson, Alabama. What?
I'm actually a Clemson fan, so
Yeah.
we're win-win there.
Yeah.
But he was going to
Great
give me
game,
grief
though.
about the Gamecocks.
Well-
Because I went to USC for a minute, and that would be the University of South Carolina. But he knows that I'm a Cougar. Get your laugh. I'm College of Charleston
at the
alumni.
award show, there was a Cougar versus Gamecock versus Tiger.
Well, that's because my
alliteration.
teleprompter had Joe Barisi's speech still up on it,
know,
and
because
Amy was with
guy
me,
was drunk.
and Amy was just like, "What?"
She froze,
and
and you had to
she's
improv.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, being next to her made me look good.
That's why I put you two together.
But that's why I kind of
That's
went,
right.
"Hey, all right, let's go for the Clemson
but
Tigers."
shout out to Clemson.
Yeah,
Great season.
Great school. They
Tremendous
tried.
season.
The University of Alabama. There's a lot of metaphors in the sports world that you and I rely on quite heavily. And, yeah, my school lost the national championship, but sometimes you don't get every mix you want to get. Sometimes
Yeah, I
you
think
got to
no
work
flies on
harder
Clemson,
and
though,
get
dude.
the
They were
next
ranked
mix,
the highest.
Yeah.
It was a fun season because the quarterback is one of the nicest people, builds houses and stuff, and Nick Saban is a genius.
Yeah,
No question about it.
without question.
Great game.
He's-
Yeah.
The two
he's
best
Herb
teams in the
Trowick
country.
of the football
He
world.
is.
Well,
Dude, and it was 45-40. It was a good
Unbelievable.
game.
Great
yeah,
game.
Yeah. I don't watch sports that much, but I watch those games.
So, you care about education. We
do.
love the facility. We do a lot of shooting on location. Can we talk about doing some more with you guys at East West from Pensado's Place? Coming in and doing
Absolutely.
some stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
That's
we'll
on.
have that conversation.
Oh, yeah, that's down.
A lot of plans in 2016,
Sounds
as
good.
well as there's stuff that you guys can utilize the media center for, which we'll talk about too. Live streaming and other kinds of
Well,
things.
I'm all about.
Oh,
I'm all
absolutely.
about using you.
Absolutely, please use me
With that
up.
Bill Withers song.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Before you, a lot of loss this year.
I want to keep
right?
going.
Oh yeah, no, we're at part twos. You can come back for sure. Before you wrap up, a lot of loss this week in our thing, right?
It
Yes.
seems like the good do die young
Keep hitting my
sometimes.
mic.
And,
We will.
This year has been not just for people I didn't know and admired, like Bowie, but lost a few friends too. I played in a million bands with Bob Burns, the drummer from Leonard Skinner. We lost Bob.
Yep.
And
Well, we won't be down about it. A great journey, great contributions. They gave their
Yeah.
all. Lemmy, David Bowie, Nick Caldwell from the Whisperers,
Oh, yeah.
Art McNow from Kalimba, just other folks. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, just recently. Great journeys. Thanks for the impact you had on us and all of you guys. Dave, take us home.
Well, I think I don't know what to do other than to say that music's eternal, and the people we lost are still with us, but only if you listen to them. So dig out some of the things that you might not have been exposed to other than to hear it on CNN that somebody passed away, and do a little research.
And research this incredible facility.
thanks, yeah.
Use this lady as
Yeah.
a model of something to
But use a
aspire to.
VPN, because if the government ever confiscates your computer and see that you are researching her, it could be a negative thing. It could be dangerous.
That's
You make me sound so like mysterious and dangerous.
Oh, we keep you sexy,
I
baby.
love
We
it,
keep
love
you
it.
sexy. Say goodbye.
Hey guys, adios.
See ya.
Thanks.